Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 1 of Roshidere, or Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So I guess, that would be Alia, huh? I mean, based on the promotional material I've seen, it couldn't be anyone else, really. So, she's basically the ideal, good grades, athletic, beautiful, the whole package, really. So I guess it makes sense that everyone would want to have something to do with her. So I think I know where this is going, this guy's talking a big game, but, I don't think she's gonna find him very impressive. Yeah, that's about what I expected. I mean, she's, rather terse about how she goes through with things, but that wasn't nearly as harsh as I would have expected. Ooh, interesting. She's a stickler for the rules, too. So she really is, the complete package. So I guess the question then is, why does she want to have anything to do with the main character? Because, having read the summary, we already know that going in, that she and Kuze-kun here are, I guess friends or, pre-romantically involved. You know what, if this guy would sacrifice sleep just to watch anime, that just means he's dedicated, Some things are more important than school. I don't think it's fair to paint this guy with the brush that Alia is, oh, you're kind of a loser. I mean, I get the feeling she's saying that semi-affectionately, although she hasn't said anything in Russian yet. I mean, at least Kuze has a good attitude about it. He rolls with the punches, so to speak. Oh. Oh dear. So she is speaking Russian, but it's being written in a Cyrillic font, which is, not something I can read. I hope this isn't going to be a habit where she says things in Russian that we, the viewer, can't understand either. Oh, yeah. I don't like that at all, actually. I think it would be better if we, the viewer, knew what she was saying. I mean, we can make assumptions, of course, but, Ooh, chemistry. I love chemistry. So they're discussing the periodic table, and they're discussing transition metals specifically. I feel like it's gotta be tin or something that's the next element, because you've got iron and cobalt. One of those weird transition metals. Oh, is she feeding him the wrong answer? It's not copper. Oh man, I wonder if she did that on purpose, just to undermine him, make him look stupid. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Oh, a likely excuse, oh no, I was pointing to the question, totally not the answer. Ooh. Maybe she's not a good liar. Maybe that's part of it. I mean, that does seem like an obvious lie. Ooh. Okay. So I guess, maybe not translating the Russian was deliberate then. I guess, Huh. You know what? I take that back. I take back what I said. I do kind of like this, that the Russian remains untranslated until the revelation that he understands it. You know, that was not a bad opening. But I guess, you know, music and all aside, it seems like Kuze and Alia go back. Way back, actually. You know, they were kids, so I guess this is a weird situation where they're essentially childhood friends. And I guess, you know, he learned Russian to speak with her as a kid, but, you know, I guess she assumes he forgot it and he's not willing to correct the mistake unless it causes embarrassment. I mean, I feel like this is a situation that could probably be fixed with, like, a fair degree of tact, you know? Like, just, like, presented to her as, like, hey, you started learning Russian, like, you know, you don't have to reveal everything. Or, you know, you could just, like, drop a suka bliat, you know, just... I think that's a rude swear word. Like, just say that out of frustration. Okay, so he's just playing, like, a gacha game in the middle of class. That's not an emergency. I mean, I guess getting a JPEG of a cute anime girl is always nice, I suppose, but... like, come on, man, there's a time and a place. Ooh. Yeah, I think I understand the dynamic here. He essentially has to pretend he doesn't hear stuff he clearly does. Oh dear. Man, so, Kuze is in a pickle indeed, because, like, he really can't reveal that he speaks Russian after she says stuff like that about her hair and the character. But, I don't know, I feel like there's still an easy way to just sort of, you know, slowly roll it out that you understand Russian. You know, maybe, like, pretend to be bad at the language. You know, something tells me this poor guy here, those outbursts are common and unfortunate. Like, I don't think you're really gonna solve any of your problems by saying stuff like that out loud. Alright, so there are more girls here, and I get the feeling that this is, competition, I guess. You know, sure, like, based on what we already know, like, Alia and Kuze, like, that's the pairing, but, you know, now that there are others, I feel like that might feed into the drama. So that's interesting, I guess. Even Kuze's friends note that the fact that he's on, reasonable terms with Alia is, in and of itself, unusual considering how she treats most everyone else. And I guess by most everyone else, I mean everyone else excluding him, seeing as how he really seems to be the only person that's not, family. Yeah, I feel like pontificating about, various members of the student council is kind of a fool's errand. Just because if they're these, high-class, prestigious students, they're not just gonna go for anyone, and even if you did, I feel like you'd be painting a target on your back. Although that said, Kuze, he seems to know all of them, I guess, and is on fairly casual terms with them anyways. And, surely it can't be due to his natural charisma, because, he's kind of weird. Being a guy who watches a lot of anime and plays gacha games and all that. I like how she's saying you needn't be so formal, as if needn't isn't a more formal way of saying it. Yeah, I don't know. If I were in her position, I wouldn't want to sit with these guys. But there's got to be something else at play here, if the student council president were to do so. I mean, Kuze's even talking to her on friendly terms, so I feel like they have to know each other. And I guess this isn't lost on Alia either. Okay, so they're childhood friends too, so... Yeah, oh man, I can already tell by the expression on her face that she's taking this as competition. Or at the very least, she's taking it as an intrusion onto her territory, so to speak. Okay. Yeah, there's something going on here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. But I feel like there are going to be repercussions in the future. Man, that guy who is, bemoaning his dating situations just leaving early, bro. Fumbling the bag, man. So I guess it's interesting that for whatever reason, they want Kuzo to join the council. And, he doesn't care about it, obviously, but I guess the idea that he's had previous experience... I guess this indicates that... Well, I suppose he was more academically minded at one point, or... I guess was sort of strong-armed into acting that way. I can't help but wonder if the girl telling Alia all of this is just sort of rubbing it in. She's got this smug expression on her face that I can't help but wonder if she's more aware than she lets on and is sort of twisting the knife. Oh. Oh, that's something. Alia, I guess, questions that she and Kuzo are friends. Not that she wouldn't want to be friends with him, but I guess that she didn't realize they were, and that it's a pleasant surprise that they are. So I guess that's interesting. I suppose, she suffers from, I guess, a lack of self-confidence. Okay, so I guess the two of them, they knew each other when they were kids, and they both sort of spoke Russian. Her fluently, him in a sort of, well, less than competent way. I mean, surely this whole thing has to count for something, that he would go out of his way to learn a language just to befriend someone. I mean, clearly that must have left an impression on her. So I guess I'm wondering, like, what's the dynamic here? Like, Kuze, like, he's admitting he studied Russian to talk to her. That's not something he would normally do. Oh. But he doesn't remember her name, he says. So, does Kuze not realize Alia is the girl? Okay, this is bizarre. Because I feel like Alia, if she knew this kid who learned Russian to speak to her, surely she would remember that. Like, do they not know they were friends? Because on the one hand, like, Kuze seems to not remember Alia being the girl he was friends with. Alia seems to have forgotten that he spoke Russian, or she also doesn't realize they were friends. How utterly bizarre, because it is unclear, and I'm wondering if that's going to factor into the ultimate revelation that, you know, they were actually friends initially and they do care about each other. Man, you know, I don't think it's really your fault for walking close to the road if you get splashed by a truck. I mean, I know at least when I drive, I try to, like, avoid puddles or drive slowly through puddles if at all possible. Granted, you know, I don't generally see people, like, walking next to him either. So I guess maybe the student council business is going to be a running thing too, that they want him to join. But I guess from Alia's perspective, it's like, what if I ask you, would you do it for me? Ooh. Okay, I guess good on Kuze for averting his eyes, but ooh. Yeah, that Alia would take advantage of this situation. That's, something. Man, those pesky animators pandering to people who like feet. Shame on them. Why don't they pander to me instead? You know, Alia's pushing her luck here. I think doing stuff like this is really only going to invite trouble. I mean, she's acting like she knows that this is something he really wants. Wow. Man, you know, Kuze's in a real difficult position here, having understood what you just said. Just because, like... Man, I mean, like, those are pretty long socks, you know? You have to reach up quite high on the thigh, you know? I feel like something's gonna happen here, and it's not gonna be good. You know, good on Kuze for calling her bluff. Like, she was transparently lying about calling him a coward, but nevertheless, if he wants to maintain the secret, he has to treat her as though that's what she said. You know, I feel like it shouldn't be this hard to just put on a sock. Ooh. Oh dear indeed. You know, I'm not sure if kicking him in the chin was necessarily warranted, and it's also interesting that suddenly, magically, her right shoe was on, you know. But I guess that's probably a little bit too much of a nitpick. What the hell sort of conversation is this? Kuze's like, you know what, I like legs now, and he's telling that to his sister. Huh. I mean, I guess if he does like legs, he's picked the right girl, I suppose. Wow. That's a low blow, considering she invited the whole issue. Man, like, calling him a fetishist, like, that's, I mean, that's hitting below the belt. At least she's concerned about having kicked him in the jaw, like... Although she's more concerned about his neck, I suppose, like... I mean, I would think the first concern is like, hey, I didn't, like, chip any of your teeth or knock him out, right? But, oh dear. It seems like the consequences of her own actions have come back around, and now she's upset. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that happens when you kick people in the face. Wait a minute. I thought she only said affectionate things in Russian. Telling someone to die doesn't seem very affectionate to me. So I guess the question is, are they just running through the halls during the school day? You know, I'm wondering if they might, like, land themselves detention together or something like that. I mean, I guess that would be a way to reconcile if they're both stuck in one place together. You know, I guess good on Kuze for managing to keep up with her pretty well, considering she was described as a top athlete. Okay, well, you know, they've apologized and made up. It really is that simple. It doesn't have to be difficult. Although he is offering her a drink that he managed to shake up while they were running. I feel like, you know, maybe wait a bit before you crack it open, but it is telling that it was the thing she was drinking before. So, you know, if nothing else, good on Kuze for being observant. You know, I think it is singularly unhelpful to ask a question in a language you think the other person doesn't understand. Man, how typical, I suppose, that Kuze would just sort of chicken out, but I guess it can't be helped. You know, this is only episode 1. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.